Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today at Book Blather. If you're new here, I'm Dave, and this is Olive, and we talk about books of all types that we've read or acquired recently to help spread the joy of reading. Today, we are recording very late the final week 4 episode of Horror Mayhem. This was a reading event that we did in the month of May, and we were chugging along pretty good. We did week 4, but with the recent passing of PAX, that kind of threw our video schedule. We hit a speed bump in our video schedule. So we did week 4, but we just didn't record it yet. So that's what we're doing today, to finally wrap that up. If you're not familiar with Horror Mayhem, that was throughout the month of May, designed to focus on short horror fiction. So what we did here was each week we read a short book, and then we also supplemented that with short stories. We were working out of an anthology. And in addition to that, in the middle of May, we kind of discovered manga, including horror manga. So we actually incorporated unexpectedly some horror manga into our Horror Mayhem. So let's talk about what we read in week 4. It's been a little bit, but still remember it well enough, I think. So the book that we read was Sabbath of the Fox Devils by Sam Richards. And this was published in 2020 by Weird Punk Books. And this book was okay. We had wanted to like this book more. We thought we would, but it was okay. So what the story was, the story was decent. The story was basically about this kid, and so the setting is the kid lives with really some religious zealots as parents who won't let him do anything. He's not even really allowed to watch any TV. And his brother left home years before that, and they live in a town where there's a priest. Something's not quite right with him, and so there's, what's all connected. And the main theme of the story is the boy, when his parents leave home to go to a church function, he sneaks in to watch a cartoon. And in this cartoon, he learns about this mysterious grimoire. And so then he goes on the hunt for this grimoire, and then chaos ensues. And let's just say it involves the Fox Devils that you see on the cover here. Now, the story was, it was quick and it was short. It was a little, it was a little bit juvenile, I guess, in terms of, what I had heard, and now what I hadn't even noticed was right on the back of the book, was that it's kind of like a cross between Goosebumps and sort of like a splatterpunk Goosebumps, and that's really exactly what it is. Like when he first is in the beginning of the story, when he's first watching this cartoon about these people, these teenagers that are going and discovering this grimoire, it actually even gave me like a Scooby-Doo kind of feel from like the old Scooby-Doo cartoons. But that's pretty much what it was. It was kind of like a Goosebumps story where like the violence was just brought to like totally the next level. I mean, it was definitely splatterpunk. It was nuts. These Fox Devils are no joke. There's some extreme violence in this thing, and I don't want to say much more than that. But if that's the kind of story that you're looking for, it was a good one. It was fine, and I had fun with it. The thing that didn't really like about this book is that there were a lot of errors in this book, and. So Sam Richard is the publisher of Weird Punk Books. And this is not actually the first time that I've seen this, where the book's publisher themselves, their own book, had a lot of errors in it. And so what I've kind of learned by seeing this now a couple times is that I think, really everybody can benefit from a copy editor. I think no matter like how experienced you are or how good of a writer you are, I think everyone needs a second set of professional eyes on their work. because you wrote the story and you're reading the story over and over again. So there's going to be a bunch of stuff that you're not going to catch, and I mean, a lot of people don't care about that, but for me, it's pretty distracting. And when I read, stuff that's got like a couple errors is not a big deal. But when I see stuff that's got a lot like this, where like just like a 2-page spread has a number of errors on it, it's really distracting, and it ends up pulling me out of the story because it keeps it's like just constant hiccups in the story. So, and I don't know, a little mini rant. We don't rant too much here, but just a little mini rant with that is, what's frustrating about that is, there's a lot of indie publishing and small press publishing, which is great. And a lot of people are in the community trying to bring more attention to that stuff. And, it's already hard. I mean, hard for the indie publishers and the small press publishers to get potential readers to read those books, because readers are always hesitant of whether they're going to be up to the same level of quality. And so when books are put out there by indie authors and small press publishers where they don't have a second set of eyes reading the book and they're not of the same level quality, it really, I think, hurts the whole enterprise and really hurts the efforts of the indie community as a whole to get more exposure and ultimately more readers for these books. And so I just really wish that the people in that community, everybody would maybe just take some greater care, so that everybody doesn't get hurt by some of the lower quality stuff getting pushed out there. And I'm not saying Sam Richards not a good writer. He seems like a decent writer. Just could have benefited from a copy editor, and the book would have been a lot better, I think. So, anyway, so that said, it's not. I mean, if this, I had fun with the book, and so I would still recommend it. And it was, it was, like I said, it was decently written, and it was a decent story. So if you're if you're looking for that sort of thing, like it's a little nutty, right? So, but if you're looking for like a Goosebumps splatter punk, this gives you a good ride, and so it moves quick, and I had fun with it. So I mean, I'd recommend it anyway, despite my little rant there. But so anyway, probably our least favorite book of the 4 that we read for Horror Mayhem, but it was a good month, so we wouldn't they were all decent. We had a good time with all of them. Okay, so then we have been supplementing the books with short stories out of this anthology, The Best of Lovecraft. And we had hoped to get through more of this, but we didn't get as far as we wanted. And this in week 4 we only read one story actually from this, and we kind of skipped ahead because we had heard a lot of The Color Out of Space, so we wanted to get to that one. So that's the one that we read. And that was a story that was published in 1927 in Amazing Stories. And that's a famous one. It's known for being one of his best, and for good reason after we read it. That was a really good story. So the basic setting, I won't give too much away, but the basic setting is this surveyor. It goes into this area because they're going to. It's like a I think it was like a valley in the woods, and it's gonna. He's there because they're gonna turn it into a reservoir. But there's this area that was called the Blasted Heath. I think it was called the Blasted Heath, or something close to that. That was kind of like this blighted, barren area that nobody goes in. It's just this sort of gray, barren spot, and he ends up talking to a guy that lives like right on the. People don't know. Nobody's there anymore, but he ends up talking to a guy that has remained that lives like right on the outskirts to try to find out what happened, and it totally freaks him out when he hears out the story and doesn't want to go back. But then you learn the story that he got from this guy, and it's the most I'm going to give away is that it's basically a meteor had come and affected the area and the life, including not just animals but also people that were there. And I won't really say any more than that, but it was really creepy. It did a great job with it did a great job presenting a story of a truly otherworldly, horrific presence. Let me leave it at that. I don't want to give too much away, but it was a really good story. It was our favorite of the one. We didn't read the whole anthology, but it was our favorite of the ones that we read in this anthology in the month of May. Really enjoyed it. That was really a great story. If you haven't read it, you should go pick that one up and give it a read. And the reason we only read one out of Lovecraft was because, yes, we were distracted by the horror manga that we recently discovered. So what we had just barely started in week 3 was this, Smashed by Junji Ito. We had read a previous horror one by Junji Ito earlier in May, so then we picked up this one, just barely started in week 3, and so then we read the rest of it. This is a collection of short stories. And so there's 13 short stories in here, and we had a good time with this. They're all short, and so nothing's too deep. It's just a bunch of short stories of just creepy imagery and just a scary little short story. I mean, you can't look for a whole lot out of these, but we had a good time with this one. And it's over 400 pages, so it's a bit of time of reading pleasure. Like I said, 13 stories. We're not gonna review them all, but just to whet your appetite, to give you a taste of what they are. So the stories were Blood-Sucking Darkness, which is about a young girl who wants to get thinner to impress a boy, and some other guy comes along to help her. Ghosts of Primetime is about these two women that become celebrities, that they are able to make all the audience members laugh hysterically, inexplicably. There's Roar. Roar was a really good one. Like I said, some of these were better than others. I mean, some of them were not that great, but overall they're pretty good. Roar was a good one about these two guys that are walking through the woods, and all of a sudden they see this river carrying a bunch of people, and then it's not there, and so they keep seeing this, and I'll leave it at that. There was Earthbound, what was Earthbound? I forget what was Earthbound was. I gotta check if I just see a picture too, I'll remember. Oh yeah. Oh, Earthbound was a good one. That one was about where some of the people, just different people, they end up finding these people just frozen, just standing still in a scarecrow pose, silently, and you don't know why, and they're stuck like that, and that was really good. And Death Row Doorbell was the next one, and that was about this family that's undergone a tragedy, and the guy that's responsible for that tragedy, who's supposed to be in prison, keeps showing up on their doorstep trying to apologize. Then there's a trio of related ones: Mystery of the Haunted House, which was a creepy haunted house story. Mystery of the Haunted House, Sochi's Virgin, which was more about one of the main character from the other story. And then there was Sochi's Beloved Pet, that was weird. That was about Sochi's cat, which I didn't even really get that one. That was a weird one. But in Mirror Valley, that was pretty good. That was these friends are walking into this rural area where there's a river that goes through this valley, and there was these little village on each side of the river facing each other. It's abandoned, and there's just a ton of broken mirrors. I Don't Want to Be a Ghost. This is also a very good one, where this guy's driving along and he finds this girl just standing still on the side of the road with blood all over her face. And so he helps her, and she gets attached to him, And I won't say any more than that. Library Vision, that was about a couple where the guy he's a caretaker for this library, that massive library that he inherited from his family, and he becomes very obsessed when he's constantly watching over it, and when certain books go missing, he becomes very obsessed with it. Then there was Splendid Shadow Song, and that was about a girl that hears someone else singing a hateful song and can't get it out of her head. And then the last one is Smashed, and that was about these teenage, I think they were teenager friends, that they found the special nectar that was like delicious, but bad things then started happening. But it's so delicious they can't stop eating the nectar. So I'll leave all those at that because they're short stories. I don't want to give anything away. I just want to whet your appetite, give you an idea of what the different stories are about. But really cool. I mean, not totally in love with this, but I had a nice time with this. If you're looking for it's unique, these short graphic horror stories. It's I had a good time with it, and so we actually have some more already, and we're going to keep going with this. We're really enjoying the Junji Ito stuff, so we had a good time with that too. So there was another book that we had mentioned in the beginning of Horror Mayhem when we said everything we were going to read, Mapping the Interior by Stephen Graham Jones, and we did not get to this. We had sent Pax a copy of this, and we're hoping to buddy read it with her, and of course we never got the opportunity to do that. So sorry if you were waiting to hear our verdict on this book, but we're not going to read this now. We're just going to put this aside, and we'll read it sometime in the future. So anyway, so that was what we did. We did Sabbath of the Fox Devils by Sam Richard. We read a story out of the Best of H.P. Lovecraft, Color Out of Space, and we read the Smash collection of short stories, Manga by Junji Ito. So again, if you've read any of these, or you have any thoughts or comments on them, let us know. Be happy to hear it, and we always love to hear from you. Let us know what you're reading this month, or if you had any great reads in the month of if you did Horror Mayhem and you had any great reads that month. If you don't want to leave anything substantive, of course, you can always leave Olive a puppy emoji. She always likes to see those, right, Olive? Right? You always like to see those puppy emojis. She's been hard. Like, we would do these Horror Mayhems at night. She's been pretty tired for these. So, yeah. So, as always, thanks so much for watching. We'll see. We're backed up, and we have a bunch of videos to do. We have actually a couple hauls that we got to record now. We had a few good ones, and we'll keep them separate from the separate places. And still a few non-horror Mayhem books that we're backed up on. So we got a bunch of videos coming out that we're going to be recording very shortly. So we'll see you very soon. In the meantime, take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll see you next time.